Welcome everyone to episode 16 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen. Today we're going to be talking about the new movie, The Pope's Exorcist. There were a lot of new releases this weekend, but that's the one that we all saw, so that's the one we're going to talk about. We're also going to be adding some new stuff to the episodes, talking a little bit about some film and TV news, and just going over some of our favorite movies that we watched in the past week. As always, share the episode, like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow our Twitter at the link in the description. And we can start by talking about what we watched this past week. We'll go with some of the other new releases first. We can talk about Mafia Mama and Renfield a little because two of us have seen both of those movies.
Yeah.
Or two of each of us, I should say, for each movie. Let's start with Renfield, I guess, because that's definitely the bad one of the bunch.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about it? Because I know you hated it even more than
Yeah,
I did.
I think Renfield was something that was bothering me ever since it kind of started getting more mentioning and traction and trailers and stuff. Because I do think I remember on our like upcoming 2023 release, like I think I mentioned that I was excited for it reasonably. It was one of the
Yeah.
movies that I did like, well, I think I could enjoy this in a possible world. I think like vampires and Dracula and stuff, that is stuff that I'm interested in. So it could have been a layup. And I like Nicolas Cage a lot. Nicolas Cage is one of my favorite actors. I think Nicolas Cage as Dracula is perfect casting. I think that's great. I think everything else is a mess, and that really annoyed me. It's very much like trying to be a superhero movie. It's like it's weird. I think tonally it's a mess. It's just an action movie with Dracula kind of shown in there. It's weird. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, interesting that you say Nicolas Cage because, like, I feel like Nicolas Hoult was like kind of the thing that I
Yeah,
liked about this
I think he's
movie.
good in the movie as well. It's like I think I like it's a movie that I was like weirdly I was like, oh, I think I like Nicholas Hoult. I don't like this
Yeah,
movie at all. I There
yeah.
was a movie I was like, oh, I could see Nicholas Hoult in other things and I like him in there, but it was like this just movie isn't working.
Yeah, when I saw him in this, I was like, this is actually somebody who I'd want to see be the
Yeah,
lead in more
no, he's
movies.
very charming in Renfield.
Yeah, no, he's cool, but I mostly agree with you. I don't hate it as much as you did because I guess it had a couple of moments that I was like, oh, this is okay, but
Yeah,
it often just brought me back to like being a bad movie. I think the
yeah,
part that like sometimes when movies do this, it almost like it's like it just like rubs it in a little bit because they have like those moments where it's like where you think you're watching a cool movie and then you go back to the rest of the movie and you're like, oh no, wait, this sucks, and that like
yeah.
that sucks a little extra, I feel like,
Yeah, I don't want
because
to talk
those
too
like
much
fun
about it,
moments.
but
Yeah.
it did make me laugh. I did laugh at parts. It's not the worst movie of the year by any means. It's just not good at all.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what it
I
is.
I
I
agree.
think
And then oh,
Ren.
you didn't see it,
So
did
a,
you?
a thing about Renfield too that I think is kind of interesting that we should have probably been smarter to identify as a red flag is how Renfield came out in fucking April and not
Yeah.
October. The Why did the vampire movie come out in April? That's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
What is
um,
like the movie's like almost anti-vampire in the way that it's like trying to make it like some other. It's like weird. I don't know. It feels
Yeah.
very much like we're trying to do a different movie, but there's vampires at the same time.
have either of you
Yeah.
seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah,
I
The
I
other
don't
have
like.
kind of
not
I'm not a fan of that movie.
okay.
I've seen an episode of the TV show because we had to watch it for one of my classes, which is
What the
weird.
fuck?
We
That's
watched it. We
weird.
watched it for
Oh
my. It was for
yeah.
my comedy writing class. I took like a
Oh,
comedy
okay, okay,
writing
okay.
TV
Yeah.
class.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, I probably prefer What We Do in the Shadows over this. I'm just not a fan of like Taika's humor.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
just heard a lot of
But
I don't
comparisons
always
because
love his humor.
I think that What We Do in the Shadows commits more to the vampire stuff than Renfield, where Renfield's trying to be a superhero movie. Like it's
it's
Yeah.
like
trying to be like
setting up.
Deadpool.
Yeah, it's like setting up Nicholas Holt's character as like this like hero basically, and Dracula's like this super villain. It's like
Yeah.
okay, like I don't
No, it is a little silly. And then our other silly movie of the weekend, Mafia
know.
Mama. Um, I, I, it was so fun. It was so
It's
silly.
so
I
silly.
mean,
It's so silly.
Toni Collette is
Oh,
just like awesome. She's so likable, like in the
uh,
entire movie. She's so funny.
Toni Collette is really funny. Kind of like it's crazy how she doesn't do more comedy because she's really great. I the movie's so silly. Like from the very like first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh, this is just silly. It's like I feel like
Yeah.
moms would like this movie probably.
Yeah, like it's like a wine mom movie for sure.
Yeah,
Heiress for the dads, Mafia Mom, Mafia Mama is for the
Yeah.
moms. We got with the movies for everybody in this theater right now.
Yeah.
yeah. It's so I mean, and it's like people would be like, oh, it's not the best movie ever, or like it's bad filmmaker or whatever, and it's like sure, like it's silly, you know, like
Yeah.
Monica Bellucci is also plays one of the main characters. She's giving us nothing, you know. Monica Bellucci is like showing up to set and just like reading her lines, and they,
Yeah.
and like barely acting, but it's like it's fine because it's Monica Bellucci, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it is like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to get into like all the bad filmmaking of it, but it is like it's just like a lot of stuff that I like it bothered me, but then all the silly moments made me be like, oh no, this is too fun for me to like care that much about it. Like I think my biggest problem is just that it's a movie that I'm gonna like forget everything that happened in it like a week from now. But
Sure.
it was like it was fun while
Yeah.
I was there, so I can't really like hate on it too much.
What did you think of the obscene amount of Godfather references?
I thought it was so funny.
Even like the like the annoying like references where it was like
Yeah.
what when Monica Bellucci, oh, no, when Toni Collette's character, it was like, oh, I feel like um Vito Corleone right now,
Yeah.
and then Monica Bellucci was like, oh, you've seen the movie, and she was like, no, I read the
Mm,
Wikipedia plot summary.
Yeah.
And then,
No,
well, and
because I
then
thought it was like a good joke because of how many times they did it, I think. Because it just
yeah.
like it's just so silly that every single time something happens, they play Godfather music like in the back. And I'm like, bro, this is so obnoxious.
Well, and then like the end of the movie is literally just a total, it's a complete reference to the end of the first Godfather, like
Yeah.
to like so like a frame by frame reference to the end of the first Godfather, to the point where I was like fucking like almost screaming. I was like, this is fucking crazy. How
Yeah. No, it's so silly. I like how it committed to just being like exactly what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Fun movie. We can talk a bit about the other stuff that we like this week. Who wants to go first? Who wants to give their movies
I
first?
can go first.
I
Okay.
think it's funny how nobody saw Suzume, which
Oh,
Suzume should
No,
be.
I'm probably gonna see it tonight, but it's a
Oh,
big
okay.
maybe.
Yeah,
Because I
well, it's
don't
just
know if
like
I
that should
can.
be on paper. That should be the big movie of this weekend. Really, is like, 'cause he's
Yeah.
kind of like the only auteur release this week, and is
Yeah.
like kind of like everybody kind of loves his other movies, and
I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen this other stuff.
neither have I.
Yeah, I really want to watch Your Name. I think I've brought this up to you
Yeah,
guys
no,
before, but
I've your name gets mentioned like every day on TikTok. Like that
yeah,
movie's very big.
yeah. Well, I just
Yeah,
I just feel like a dick because I skipped the class where my professor was showing us Your Name
you
because it was
skipped your
yeah,
name.
because it was like no, I feel bad though because it's like I could have seen it in like a nice little like theater
Yeah.
at my school, like on the big screen, and I just like skipped that class because he was like oh yeah, this week's optional, like we're just gonna watch a movie, and I was like okay cool, so I just like slept in,
Bro
and then
hates the
like
movies.
yeah, and then like I found out that it was Your Name, and I was like wait a second,
Oh,
like
you didn't
no,
know
I,
what the movie was before? Like, it was just like, oh, we're watching a movie. It wasn't. We're watching
yeah, well,
Your
I don't
Name.
like read the syllabus or anything. Like
Okay.
he said we
Gotcha.
didn't have to show up, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, see you next week.
Word.
But yeah, I potentially will watch it tonight. If not, I mean, I'm gonna see it at some point, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, Owen, what'd you
Yeah,
watch?
so I mean a pretty solid week. I mean, I was I started off kind of with RoboCop. I was in a RoboCop kind of mood. I really enjoyed that. I do want to revisit it. And I kind of want to watch like some of the other stuff, even if they're not as highly praised. I think RoboCop's like a fun, kind of premise. And they just kind of actually, funny enough, announced like they're doing more RoboCop stuff. They
Mhm.
said like
Yeah,
TV or movie. We'll see whatever happens with that.
they said that it's like that's such a funny announcement because it was basically
It's like
like
maybe.
they want to do something with the IP. They want to do something
Yeah,
with the
that's
IP.
all the announcements. Like we could do a movie or TV. We don't really know yet. And then I watched Obsession from Brian De Palma, which is basically De Palma doing Vertigo. It's just very much like the basic premise of Vertigo with the whole like this whole plot with the girl and there being like, oh, that's the girl that I knew. And that's really good. I like that a lot. And then I watched The Exorcist
Oh
because
yeah.
of a movie that we are going to talk about later. I was like,
Yeah.
I might as well watch The Exorcist for the first time, and I really loved that. It was yeah, I definitely want to rewatch that. I think it could be one of my favorites. But I really enjoyed that. I think exorcism movies are something that I didn't know I needed in my life, but I really like.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get into more of that. I've heard Exorcist 3 is very good. People really like that movie.
I've
So
heard the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna do some Exorcist watches soon.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All
Well,
right,
the
Doug.
best exorcism movie is The Conjuring, but
Yeah,
written and
you see,
directed
I
by
want to
James
rewatch The
Wan.
Conjuring. I want to rewatch The Conjuring, but I'm just scared because I just remember being really scared of it, and I'm like, I don't want to watch movies. I don't want to watch movies that actually scare me. Like, we'll get into that with The Pope's Exorcist, but I think that was my favorite things about the movie. One of my favorite things about the movie is that it's like the fun kind of horror. Like, that's my brand of
Yeah,
horror. I don't want
yeah,
to watch stuff that's actually gonna like give me nightmares or anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll revisit The Conjuring eventually. Okay, Doug, what'd you
I
watch?
watched I watched that shit everybody's talking about. I watched Beef,
Oh,
the
Ah, right.
miniseries,
Yeah,
the Stephen Young, Ali Wong, miniseries
yeah,
about a road rage incident is how they're calling it. Um,
yeah.
I have beef with miniseries. That should have been it should have been a movie. It just should have been a movie.
Yeah.
It's like I watched it and it was
how
like,
long
oh,
is it?
it's like 6 hours long.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, okay, yeah, no, sure. And then it ended and I was like, this is so kind of like uneven and a little all over the place. And it's like, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like a lot of like plot padding, and it could have just been like a 2 hour movie and it would have been better actually. Like
Yeah.
not even just as
That
more
when I
intense,
saw
it
the
would have been
trailer, it
better.
kind of
Like
like seemed like that.
Yeah, draft the movie cut.
Yeah.
yeah, drop the
The
movie
limited
cut.
series. The limited
The
series is
beef
like
edited like
Is that
Yeah,
it?
like
Is that the big one?
yeah, I mean that was like that's like the big thing. I rewatched Hero. Uh
Oh yeah.
I which is the Zhang Yimou movie. That's very good. I went to the theaters the other day because the Alamo Draft House did it like a Superman double feature of the first two Superman movies, and those fucking rule. Those movies are really good. Christopher Reeves is kind of him. Um, yeah, I don't know if you've seen those movies, but yeah, yep.
Yeah. um yeah, I didn't really watch a lot this week, to be honest. I mean, I watched the first Evil Dead movie, and I'm gonna watch the rest of that franchise
How did you feel about
hopefully
that?
before Friday.
Evil Dead 1.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I gotta prep for next week's episode for the new Evil Dead, and I mean, I felt like, yeah, I liked it. It was fun. I don't know. I it definitely, I could see like the the influence that it had on what is it, the cabin in the woods, right?
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Of
was
course, it's
like,
a, it's a cat in the woods.
yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't
That's
help
what Evil
that
Dead
I've
is.
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't help
Yeah.
that I've seen the cabin in the woods before ever watching Evil Dead. But yeah, no, it was fun. I liked it. I'm like really excited to watch two, which I might do today. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I'm planning on it.
No. If you
Because
Let's
it
if
seems like
you
see.
that's the
liked
consensus.
one, like yeah, I think it's just like two is just kind of oh, Raimi goes back and he builds on one and just makes this like crazy movie.
Yeah,
Evil
Bruce
Dead 2 is
Campbell.
just one of the
Yeah.
great movies ever
That's what
made.
it is.
You
Just,
know,
yeah, that's
like
just what it is.
yeah, I'm really excited for it. I do also like that they're just
And
like,
Army of Darkness is a whole lot of fun. That movie
yeah,
is awesome.
yeah. I'm excited for those. A little bit less excited for the new Evil Dead, like the
Yeah.
2013 Evil Dead, just because I hear that one's like actually scary, which is not typically my
not.
cup of tea.
It's
It's
if
not?
you didn't
Okay.
think the first one was scary, I don't think you're gonna think the remake is scary because it's like the same shit. Like
Okay. Okay. I don't know. It
Um,
just seems a lot more like
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet either.
modern, like gory kind of stuff. But I don't know.
I
Hopefully it
forgot
doesn't
that you're
creep me out
scared
too
by like
much.
gore and stuff. Yeah, it's like way gorier,
No,
but
I'm not like technically scared by gore. I'm more scared by
Technically.
like Yeah, it depends how the gore is used. Sometimes gore is okay. But yeah, that was one of the ones. Another one that I liked that is a movie nobody in the world has probably seen was Good Dick, which is just like this. I don't know. For some reason, I've been like finding these movies that it's like this very specific like subgenre of that I don't even know how to explain of like these like underseen like kind of movies that just look like horny, but then I watch them and they end up being just like actually kind of like serious and a little bit depressing.
Okay.
um and yeah, it's just like fun. It's like I don't know, it was a pretty solid movie. Like I'd
Cool.
recommend it because it was like I don't know, I saw that, and I saw like 2 weeks ago I watched 28 Hotel Rooms, which is like the same vibe of like, oh, I thought this was just going to be about sex, but it turns out it's actually like kind of this pretty depressing story. Yeah, and then the last one, another movie that came out this weekend that when you mentioned before, like the big movie of this weekend. The only reason it's not a big movie is because limited release. But I saw How to Blow Up a Pipeline yesterday, and that movie
Well, yeah, that's playing
rocks.
in like 3 cities.
It's
Yeah.
it's my favorite movie of the year so far. Like easily. Like I finished watching it and I was like, no competition. Like there's a clear gap between that and everything else I've seen this year. It's really cool.
Possible 5-star in the future.
Yeah, that's my thinking on it because I don't want to. I feel like I did that in the past last year where I watched movies and I went in with so much hype that I was like, oh, I'm going to give this 5 stars, and then I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
don't want to say it's like a perfect movie because I'm just like I was so excited to watch it that I was like, let me
Mhm.
like sit on it a little bit. Let me
Yeah.
watch it and see how much I like it when I'm not just like super excited to watch it. But yeah, we'll see. It's super fun. I'd recommend that if it's playing somewhere
Yeah,
near
I'm gonna
you in
try
your
to see it
vicinity, then
soon. It is playing in
um,
Boston.
yeah,
Neither of
would
you
would really
drove to one
recommend
of
it.
the 4 screens in the world that only goes
To
to
see
Braid.
Bo is afraid. No,
Yeah,
no.
Not
it has like
I'll wait till this weekend.
fuck that.
apparently I read that
I'm dying.
it has like the second highest or the highest per screen average for A24 since Uncut Gems. It's averaging almost
Yeah,
like $400,000 per screen.
yeah. I
Um,
saw. Yeah,
And
I
how
saw
many
that
people
number.
left midway through the movie?
yeah.
I know one of my friends who did see it in the city seemed to really like it. Like she said that she really personally connected with it. So I'm very interested because obviously that's been the kind of response to it was
Yeah.
a lot of people hating it, a lot of people liking it. I'm a fan of Ari Aster, so
I'm
I'm going in with like a lot of hype.
yeah, I'm kind
Yeah.
of interested in it. I think like on paper it looks the most interesting of his work to me, but it worries me because of how long it is that I just might be like midway through I'm like I don't like this at all and just be like in there forever because it's like I don't know I watched Midsummer. I didn't talk about it with my movie, so I wanted to keep it kind of positive on that and like kind of my like favorite stuff of the week, but I did not like
Yeah,
that
no, there's
movie.
not just a Midsummer poster right above my head
Yeah,
or
no, that
anything.
movie kind of
Just
isn't for me. But yeah, I'm gonna watch Hereditary probably tonight or tomorrow, and then Thursday we get a little. I was afraid.
If it
yeah,
helps you, if it makes you feel any better, or maybe not better, but if it like makes you a little bit more helpful, right? Hereditary is like very different from Midsummer.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
I don't think
so.
I don't
Well,
think
I
they're
I
similar.
know that. Well, because Bo is Afraid is very different as well. So it's like
Yeah.
I think I'm still gonna give the other two a chance because of how like I know that they are different. It just I just worries me that it just like on paper just did not work for me at all. Not
Yeah.
like even before it got because I know a lot of people are like, oh, when it gets weird, I just tap out or something. Even before it got weird, I wish I don't care. But
That's
Yeah.
yeah,
so
I'm
weird to
I'm
me. That's so
open.
because that opens up with like the craziest scene ever, like in the first like five
Yeah.
minutes.
No, that's yeah.
Like
Like
so,
absurd.
it's like so crazy.
But yeah, we don't have to talk about Midsummer too much because I don't want to hear him. I don't want to hear him get too negative.
Ugh.
But yeah, we can move on to some Pope's Exorcist talk.
Yeah, now let's talk
As usual,
real movie. Real
spoilers for
movie.
the Pope's Exorcist. Um, Start with
Um.
ratings. I give it a 3 out of 5.
Boo.
Sure. Also, I want to say for spoilers, it's like even if you haven't seen the movie, you should still watch this. You can't. You should still listen to this. You can't like. We're
Yeah,
not
Yeah,
gonna
this is
ruin the
probably the most.
experience of watching
This is
it.
going to be the most
Like
positive Pope's Exorcist podcast you will ever find on the internet.
Yeah, like what we're
yeah,
gonna say is gonna make you want to watch it. So like,
yeah, and honestly, it's actually and like unless like the stuff at the end, I guess, but like it's pretty by the books, like Exorcist stuff. Like
Yeah.
us talking
like
about spoilers isn't gonna like ruin the experience of the
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
for
yeah.
anybody.
yeah,
Like,
it's like, oh, there's a kid and he gets possessed, and then the exorcist has to like do an exorcism on him. Like it's like
Yeah,
you
but
knew that was going to
you
happen.
gotta, I gotta put the warning on
No,
there
yeah, I know,
regardless
I'm just
for the
saying,
people
like,
who are just like, for the
especially
people who
with
don't
this
want
movie,
anything.
like, I doubt you're gonna find many other podcasts that are this kind of in love with this movie.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I
yeah,
saw like we're very positive actually compared to just looking at
yeah,
everybody else on Letterboxd. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah.
the most popular reviews that are kind of like rising to the top now are all like quite positive. Like,
Yeah,
No, yeah,
well,
people, there's like, it's like definitely positive. I just, it's like, it's very like, I don't know. I just think it's like positive, like 3-star positive, 3.5
yeah,
star.
yeah,
I do think, well, yeah, because you said you gave it 3 stars. Me and Doug both gave it 4 stars. I think it's
yeah,
Doug's second favorite movie of the year.
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Is
I
that what
think
you have with that right
also
now?
I don't want to say that I don't want to say that it affected me too much, but I think
Yeah.
like when I saw that both of you saw it before me and you both gave it 4
Yeah.
stars, I was like, oh wait, is this movie actually like really good? And then I went in like maybe a little too excited.
Yeah.
So maybe that affected me a little bit, but I did like actually have a lot of fun. I think
I
it
was,
like just took a while to get going for me. Like I didn't like
yeah.
get super into it until like maybe the second half, and then I was like, oh no, this is actually like pretty crazy.
so the Pope's Exorcist opens up with what the fuck, Russell Crowe
Yeah.
speaking Italian in the Vatican. Oh no, speaking
Yeah.
Italian, not in the Vatican.
He's
In
at like some
someone's
dude's
fucking
house.
He's
Yeah,
he's
someone's
at some
house.
guy's house doing a
Exorcism.
not even doing an exorcism. He says it's like just a how
No,
does he describe it?
he was doing an exorcism, but like,
Yeah,
Oh
no,
no,
'cause he
I'm
was trying to,
thinking
like,
of
get out of,
I got it
like
confused with the girl in the movie because I know he talks about how like the one girl wasn't
yeah,
actually
yeah.
like
He was just,
possessed. It was
yeah.
just like mental illness.
yeah, no, that was a no. He the opening
Two
scene.
separate things. Yeah.
Yeah. It opens up with Russell Crowe in a house speaking Italian, speaking very fluent Italian. I was thinking about that. I was like, does Russell Crowe just know Italian? Because there's a lot of Italian in this fucking
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, no, he's speaking like especially in the beginning of the movie, he's speaking it quite frequently.
And then he goes into this house and the family's like freaking out and something crazy's going on in the background and he's just chilling. He's like the most suave guy in the world.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just like
Yeah.
He's been there, done this like a million
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Quite literally, by the way. What was that real do you guys remember the real number that they said like
yeah, he's performed
the
like
real
over
guy?
like 100,000 exorcisms.
Yeah, like how do you
Like,
even have
yeah.
the time, dude?
Well, it's like the
Multiple
max.
a
Like he would
day,
have had
you
to
know?
have done multiple a day. Like
yeah, like
Hey,
that's
man.
crazy.
Child of God, he's doing the work. You know,
yeah.
he's out there doing it.
Yeah, that's absurd.
But he's wilt. He's been on wilt numbers.
No,
Yeah,
like
God.
literally, he's like
yeah.
the
Wilt
Wilt
for
Chamberlain
God.
of Exorcists.
Yeah. But it is a good way that
Um,
they established that with that opening scene.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
it
a
was
cool scene.
And I was off to a great start for two reasons, right? In the opening scene, they're speaking Italian, and I was like, "Oh wait, they're speaking like period, like location accurate language."
Yeah.
That is so cool because most movies, not even let alone like most fucking shitty horror movies, just like most movies in general, just like don't do that, you know?
Yeah, they
Like,
just
they'll
go to
like,
another country and everybody speaks English magically with like a perfect accent for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. But no, they're speaking like location accurately, right? And then they set up this thing where it's like it's so dumb, but he tricks like the demon to get into the pig to
And they like shoot the pig.
yeah, to leave the body
Yeah.
of the kid and come into the pig, and then they fucking shoot the pig, and it's like so gruesome and terrible.
Yeah. I didn't mention
that's,
this.
like,
I
the
did
cold
rewatch.
open.
I did rewatch Drag Me to Hell, and they do like they try to do like a similar thing in Drag Me to Hell, where they try to get like the demon into a goat. Which that was funny. It's like
yeah.
it's kind of like just like a exorcist kind of thing, where it's like, oh, let's get it into the animals. We can sacrifice the animal, and then instead of killing like this person.
Yeah.
Drag Me to Hell also banger movie.
No, Drag Me to Hell is one of the great movies too.
Yeah.
Same memory
Yeah.
sim, same memory sim. But like
I saw
yeah,
like
but
10
then-
good minutes of it. I jumped in for like 10 minutes of that movie and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I just didn't watch the rest.
you would really like it though, Kevin.
Yeah.
but then yeah, so then they sacrifice the pig, and then that's how he saves that kid from the exorcism. And then we cut to like the Vatican, right? And basically they're basically trying to be like, oh, we don't need any exorcists anymore. And he's like, well, you're wrong or whatever. And then he's
Yeah.
like, what about what you just did there? You did an unsanctioned exorcism with animal sacrifice. And he's just like, it wasn't an exorcism. It was merely
Yeah,
like psychological evaluation or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the animal sacrificing a real thing, by the way? Do like actual exorcists do that? That's crazy.
I think like trying to get, I think the trying to pull some like the demon out of somebody and put them into an animal and then killing the animal is like a real thing.
Yeah, I would assume
Yeah.
that it is. Like it makes
Yeah,
sense.
it wouldn't be a popular like staple in so many of these movies if it wasn't actually like done.
Yeah,
But it's like
I think it's an interesting idea though.
yeah,
thematically.
obviously there's some stuff that has to be fictionalized, like the whole third act of this movie is just like
No, that's real
absolutely
too.
off the rails.
That's real too. But
It's
then,
real
but then
to
like,
me, Kevin.
what the movie's really about though is this family that inherits this fucking
Yeah.
old church
Creepy ass, like
something.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, they live in
there's-
the
there's
US
a
and they're
word-
like,
there's a
let's
word for
move
that.
to this like creepy ass, like broken, like still constructionalized, like
Well, because they don't
there's-
have any money.
yeah.
She said the
No,
mom said
it's
like
so-
they were like
yeah.
totally broke.
Yeah.
So then they
It's
moved
so
to Italy
silly.
in this old ass like creepy ass church, which is later discovered to have been where they put the fucking bodies from the Spanish Inquisition in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like all of
which
the
is just
martyrs from the
crazy.
Spanish Inquisition is in that fucking church hidden, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There's like a secret
And-
like extra level that they unlock at the like in the third act. It's crazy.
Yeah, literally like a fucking video
It's-
game. And there's like a super demon that was like
Yeah,
released
yeah.
from the construction. The super demon was let out that was hidden in there. And okay, I guess, and like the craziest reveal from this because after they discover, that this is what's happening is like, oh, the super demon from this era of the Spanish Inquisition has like possessed this boy, is like they also realize that like, oh no, so the exorcist, like the great exorcist that came to try to like save whatever person, he was possessed, and then it was just
Yeah.
the demon controlling the exorcist that did all of these horrible martyrs. And they even like went as far as to say like, oh, it was the work of it was like a demon as the exorcist that did all of like the child molestation in the Vatican and all this
that shit
crazy
is
stuff.
crazy.
Like,
It's like it like
Yeah,
gets like
that part
so
was absurd.
it gets so like large scale in the third act that it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. I think the fact that they had like the balls to do this crazy shit at the end is awesome.
Yeah.
I
And the
think-
way they're always like in tune with what's going on there too, where like what's happening with Russell Crowe's character, and then you see like the Pope like go to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like there's always like they're always doing that like back and forth between the two.
well, it's like that's crazy too because it's literally like it's like saying that like the Pope is like spiritually connected to a level
Yeah.
where like he is even like knows what's happening to
Yeah.
Amorth, who is the exorcist
yeah.
for some reason, to the point where like the Pope was gonna fucking die when spoilers when Amorth
Yeah.
gets possessed, which they set it up
Yeah.
early in the movie, but when the Amorth gets possessed at the end of the movie, the Pope is like, oh no, and he's like almost fucking died like for some
Yeah.
reason. And that doesn't make
It's
any
just
sense. So then he was
insane.
fine. Or I guess that makes sense because it's like they're using the Pope as like a symbol for like the church, right? And like Amorth
Yeah.
getting possessed was gonna kill the church, and then so the Pope, it was gonna kill the Pope. But yeah, that's crazy. But okay, but then yeah, so there's this family that moves into the church, and with an annoying ass fucking little girl, like the most like
Yeah.
annoying character.
I
in all the
I did
fucking
not
movies.
really like her at all.
She was fine. I know she's fine.
Like she was
so-
fine, but like I don't know. Maybe I just didn't care about a lot of the family stuff as much as I did like.
Yeah,
all the
that's like I
fun
think the
stuff.
biggest. I think the kid, like the little kid, is like the best out of the three. I think the biggest like if this movie was going to be better, and like a perfect movie, you'd want the mother and the daughter to have a little better acting or like whatever going on there. I thought the mother was kind of a weak link.
I just
yeah,
like
sure.
didn't. I just
But it's
didn't
like
care
it
for her.
it didn't like really drag it down for me. It was just like, oh, they're not that great. That's just good.
Yeah, I think for me, I just didn't care about the mother-daughter like relationship going on at all, or like the way that any of it's resolved. I was just like, yeah, family
Yeah.
stuff's whatever.
Russell
Like I
Crowe's
get that
too
it's there because
cool
it
and
has to
whatever.
be like
So
a vehicle for what happens in the
yeah.
movie. But I was like, this is whatever. I just want
For
Russell Crowe on
me,
the screen.
the daughter, I was just like, from the second the daughter was on screen, I was just like so annoyed, because not even just because it's like, oh, it's like she's not like the best actor in the world, but it's also like the way that she's written is she's written like
Yeah,
how a lot of real teenagers just are in real life, and I hate all of these people in real life too, where it's like, oh, you're just a young kid that has an absolute disdain for life for fucking no
Yeah.
yeah,
reason. Like you just like have like
yeah,
no respect for being alive, to the point where it's like, I just want to kill you. Like, can you just like not be an asshole for no reason? Like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
yeah,
Like was she like they get to Italy and she's just like, I fucking hate it here. It's like, I fucking hate you for taking me here. I hate this place. And it's like, chill the fuck out, okay? I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah,
And then she like immediately starts smoking and she's listening to music crazy loud, and she's like, fuck you, dude. Like, I don't want to be here. And it's like, dude, like
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
He was so
intense
cool
for
for
sure.
that.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's yeah, like you said, it's like typical like teenager behavior kind of thing, but it's just like whatever. It was too extreme. There's just too much of her on the screen, I think, for me.
Nah, but when she
Um,
like her like arms went back and she was like crawling and shit, that
oh, that
shit
was
was
pretty cool.
crazy.
That was pretty
no,
cool.
that
When
I
she
gotta
in
gets
say
the oh my god,
that scene was pretty dope.
yeah,
she gets
in the third
possessed.
act, in the well, I guess like it was like right before the third. No, that was like the
Yeah.
beginning of the third act, right?
Yeah,
She when she gets possessed and she starts crawling on the walls, that's my favorite fucking thing.
That
You know what
shit
I call
is
that?
crazy.
I have coined that as the fucking Hereditary thing, because Hereditary does it the best out of any fucking movie. And now every time I watch a horror movie, I'm like looking for that shit to happen. Is like when somebody's
Yeah,
like
no,
when
that
somebody
scene's awesome.
gets possessed and starts crawling on the walls. I'm like,
yeah.
that's so underutilized, because like in this movie it's fucking scary, and in Hereditary it's like the scariest thing I've ever seen in any movie.
No,
It's like
it
shit gets
remind.
happened there.
I think of Legion every time I see that because I remember
Oh
like me and John talked about Legion the other day, but it was like because I don't know if I've mentioned it to you guys, but like Legion was one of those movies where like when I was a kid, dude, when I saw that as like a whatever 11-year-old when it came
Yeah.
out,
mhm.
that movie freaked me the fuck out, dude. Like that one scene where this grandma climbs up on the wall and like gets in the corner, it's scariest shit I saw as like an 11-year-old. So every time people do that in a movie, I'm like, oh, this kind of rocks because it just makes me think of that.
Yeah, well, kind of talking about that, like whole scene, like the double possession. So the whole thing was it's
Yeah,
kind of crazy, where you have like
That's
the demon in
yeah.
like both of the kids, and like you have the girl does like she's on the wall and she's like her arms are doing like the thing like it reminds me of like old, where like the limbs are all over the place, and then obviously the kid is like freaking out with the Pope and stuff. And then you take the mom and the daughter to like the bathtub, and there's just like it's a really great like set piece like horror action kind of thing where you you just have like double possession. It's really cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
in the third act, they raise the stakes by revealing that this demon is so powerful that it
Yeah.
can
yeah,
possess two people at once. And it's like, you think about it for 2 seconds and it doesn't make any sense, right? From like how like kind of other movies have like taught you to think about possession,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
it's really fucking cool, and instantly, yeah, like the audience recognizes like, oh shit, this is serious, you know? It's
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
double
yeah.
possession.
Yeah.
And they raise those stakes to like a fucking a million, dude. Like
Yeah.
this thing, like especially when they get into like that. I guess it's a catacomb, I guess.
Yeah, so then
Yeah,
Like
that shit.
all the stuff that happens down there is just like
Yeah.
when they get the demon out and then it like they still have like it goes into the form of like these two like women that
so
like
Yeah.
for each priest individually. I was like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
that shit
okay,
rocks.
we need to go back a little bit to explain this event a little bit better, actually. So,
Yeah.
okay, so like, the kid gets possessed because they're on the church is built on like decent like unsanctioned, unholy ground, where like
Yeah,
it's basically like a catacomb of where all of the bodies that were killed during the Spanish Inquisition are kept, which is just an amazing concept. It gets so
yeah,
crazy. But then yeah, the kid gets possessed, and then they're in Spain, obviously, because it's the Spanish Inquisition. And then a priest comes in to try to like help with the possession, and he gets fucked up. So then like that's why Father Amorth from the Vatican has to come and help, and it's
Yeah.
both of them. But then the kid, the demon in the kid, is like using their sins against them that they feel guilty about, and
Mhm.
the sins for the Spanish priest is basically like you were fucking horny and had sex with
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
And then the
Which when they
sins.
first described it, confused the fuck out of
See, I
me.
thought they were talking about like children.
Yes, same. Because when they first
Yeah,
bring it up, I'm like, oh, this dude was
Yeah,
fucking
they
children,
word
and
it.
then
They word
it
it really.
turns out that he just like cheated on somebody, I guess, or something. I don't fucking know.
Well, they were wording it so the way that they worded it was like, oh, you were fucking your congregation's daughters, right?
Yeah,
Is like
yeah.
how they were wording it, which makes you think of children, right?
Yeah,
But then
Yeah,
no, I
but
think
they're
it was
like,
literally
nah,
it was
just
just like a
like
grown lady. Like, it was like,
no, it's not that he was cheating. I think you can't like have.
Oh yeah,
sex
yeah,
with
you
your
can't.
priest.
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
like
Yeah,
that's
like you
yeah.
can't
It
get
would.
married.
It's just the language they used was like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
confusing around that whole thing. But then once you like see her, you're like,
Yeah, when
oh,
you
that's
see her.
definitely not a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But it just like it
Yeah.
was so confusing.
Yeah.
But
And then
the Russell Crowe's one is like a young girl or like a teenager, right? I think.
a young woman. I don't like they're not specific with the age, but like definitely a
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
woman. Who
Yeah. Was
he gets called in for an exorcism, and then he immediately realizes like, oh, she's not possessed, she's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So then she doesn't help her, but then she kills herself in front of him, and it's
Yeah,
like
which is
super
insane.
traumatizing for him.
yeah.
And that like
And
kind of like set him spiraling.
But it
like,
kind of rocks, like in like a story kind of way, like not in like a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
not like a she killed herself kind of way.
it's like I don't know. It's like both. I think like you can say whatever about the other guys, like kind of like back hidden like tragic thing, but I think the that whole like failed quote unquote exorcism like thing is really cool. It
Mhm.
gives like Russell Crowe's character a lot of depth.
Yeah. No, I agree. But do they ever explain like did she jump off a church? Is that where she
yeah,
found him?
she jumped
There
off
looked to
Okay.
be a bell, yeah.
a
Okay,
bell
because I was gonna
tower.
say, yeah, because I was gonna say, like, what did she just like sit there waiting? She was like, he's gonna have to show up eventually. Like, I'll just wait till I see him, and then I'll do it.
Yeah.
No, I feel like the implication is she wasn't trying to kill herself in front of him. It's more like he just happened to be
He
there.
just happened
when
to be there when she did
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
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 But craziness, and then like that like fucked him up, and it kind of like explains like a little bit how it's like now even if he goes somewhere and they're not possessed, he still tries to help them the best that he can because he's like
Yeah.
I was fucked up.
Which is a really like it is a really like thoughtful detail to have in the movie. I feel like it's actually like quite an interesting backstory for this movie. That's just kind of like a mostly a really like silly over the top horror movie. I was like that's
Yeah.
actually like quite like intriguing for a backstory. I was actually really interested in that.
Yeah, you really build up a character with Russell Crowe that I think could lead a couple more movies, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
which is kind somewhat hinted at by the ending.
Yeah, the Avengers
Yeah.
are getting assembled, you know?
The Avengers are getting assembled, but
Yeah,
then okay,
the
so
Avengers of priests.
so the demon is like trying to use like these two traumatic sins in quotes against
Yeah.
the two priests, and then
Yeah.
we like cut forward to towards the end of the movie at the beginning of the third act, double possession, way too much for fucking Russell Crowe to handle, and he's freaking the fuck out, like he can't save these people. So what he does, so his compromise, right, and the thing that he thinks he has to do is that he invites the demon to possess him.
Yeah.
Which was like the huge mistake. And that is how we get into then our third act.
Which is also like it's very Exorcist, like
yeah,
like taking the demon to save the child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that's why we start our Marvel movie third act is with the two with like everybody saved, but Russell Crowe is now possessed by the super demon.
Yeah, the family like gets out of the house and drives off and like to safety, and it's just Russell Crowe v demon and the other priest.
Yeah, then the other guy, which
someone shows up to
someone
save
commented on my video and was like, I really loved it. It was kind of like a buddy cop like Exorcist movie, and I really liked that idea. Like it's just like I don't know. I think it's funny. I love like the like the whole buddy cop kind of template where you just have these two guys that are riffing off each other doing their like job.
Yeah.
Is really
this
funny.
movie is basically Men in Black, right?
Yeah.
Like, but like instead of the Men in Black, they're priests.
Yeah,
And instead of
yeah.
aliens, it's like demons. You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's worth bringing it up because Russell Crowe also has like a number of moments in the movie that are quite funny. Like he's
Yeah,
very funny in the movie.
he's so
So
good.
like the way they riff
Really.
off each other is funny.
yeah.
I like
but
their
the-
little duo.
Yeah,
You know,
and the
I
third
love
act
them.
is crazy because they end up in the catacombs where it's so like trying to think about it logically. It's like, man, how the fuck did they write this? Because they end up in the catacombs of the Spanish Inquisition, where there's a special room where this like the exorcist that was now possessed by the demon is kind of like sitting. That used to be possessed, like the old one that used to be possessed by the demon, is sitting in this chair, and Russell Crowe is sitting in there, and it gets followed by the Spanish priest that has to save him, and then the craziest shit in any movie ever like happens. Specifically, the imagery starts out with Mother Mary, like rising out of the ground.
Yeah,
like, this super
yeah.
holy, like
I just
ethereal
forgot
moment.
about that until you brought it up. Damn.
And then like, oh no, it's like Mother Mary, but oh no, it's actually not this holy ethereal symbol. It's actually fucking scary nightmare fuel. And it turns out to be it's the woman that is haunting Russell Crowe's character, that was just disguised as Mother Mary for some reason. That's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of those. Like, I mean, literally the whole last 15 minutes. I said this to Owen, I think, after I watched it, but I was like, the last 15 minutes of the movie, every time I like, because I was just having like the worst allergic reaction, like my allergies were just like going off during the movie, so like my eyes were like so watery, and I had to keep like taking my glasses off and like wiping my eyes, and every time I would like take my glasses off and put them back on, I would look up at the screen and I would be like, how the fuck is this happening now? Like,
yeah,
like,
where did we get here?
Every 10 seconds I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Like, how does this just progressively get crazier and crazier, which is like,
yeah, because it turns into like an actualization, like these two priests literally fighting their own internal demons on screen.
Yeah.
Like where like Russell Crowe is literally
is
like being possessed, and he's fighting the possession by literally fighting the girl that killed herself in front of him, and then the other priest, for like the Spanish priest, literally fighting like this new, like this really like the
she's like naked and covered in blood.
She's naked and covered in blood, and it's like the most
wait,
woman you've ever seen, and it's like, what the fuck? Like,
did she die, or like I'm confused on that whole thing.
Yeah, because like Russell Crowe,
because was there a reason for her to be covered in blood other than it looked cool?
Well, obviously not. I don't think she died.
Because
she
it was like yeah, he slept with her, but then it's like, oh, she's like attacking him covered in blood. I don't know. It's just, I think it looks sick, and it's like a really cool, like
awesome.
It looks great. But it's like it is funny that she's just randomly covered in blood.
Yeah. Maybe that's the backstory that they'll get into in the sequel that they set up in their world conquering sequel.
They're gonna go big. They're gonna go big.
Yeah.
How many did they say that they have to do? There's like 35 more locations after this one.
199.
Oh, okay.
Said,
yeah,
right?
no. I mean,
Pope's Exorcist 200. I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. So okay,
that's my end game.
The end of the movie is awesome. I don't care what the fuck anybody else says. The end of the movie is awesome because they go back to the Vatican. They go back to the Vatican, and the Pope is like, we have a new whatever the fuck that is very trustworthy, and it's the friend that the priest has at the beginning that they set up, and then he like takes them into, they take the two priests, like they take the two exorcists into like this fucking literally like the Men in Black room, like the Men in Black.
Yeah, no, literally, like there's just like all this shit going on, just like people everywhere.
And he shows him a map, and he's like, "Will you go to the 199 locations where gods cannot see, or like God is not welcome, and take care of it?" And literally, Father Amor, Russell Crowe goes in his fucking Italian accent. He's like, "Well, this is too much. This is too much for the life of one pope." For the one priest, but two priests. And he looks at the Spanish priest next to him, and then the movie just like smash cuts to it.
No, it's so good.
Like, it's so silly. It's Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now I'm feeling like I will like it more when I rewatch it because I know where it's going.
Yeah, and you won't have to
Um,
like you can see the third act and stuff.
yeah, because it's like because I think that was really my only like I don't have any like major like negatives about the movie.
Yeah,
I think it's just that the first like I don't know 45 minutes or something, like I was kind of watching it and I was like, yeah, this is like cool, but I don't really know if I love it that much. And then it just like goes off the rails and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
now I get where you guys were coming from. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, well, it was like I really went into it with really no expectations. I was like, I sent like a thing to you. I was like, I'm gonna have a rough time with the movies today. I saw Renfield
yeah,
and Pope's Exorcist back to back, and I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, I could totally walk away with like 2 1 stars today. Like I was like,
yeah,
this could be a rough time with the movies. So I watched Renfield. I was like, that sucked, and I sprinted like across the theater and I went and saw Pope's Exorcist, and I was like, I'm just gonna, whatever. I had no expectations. I just wanted to be entertained. And then I just kind of like kind of what you said. I slowly just progressed into like this is awesome. Like this is just the best thing ever. Because it was like immediately, I think in like the first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, this is better than Renfield. Check. Like it's just
yeah,
like for the
of
first 10
course.
minutes, I was like, it's better than Renfield. Cool. And then I was like, the whole like because we've seen all these images of Russell Crowe and his Vespa like online,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it was kind of like the Ben Affleck Air thing, where he was just like he looks
Yeah.
yeah,
awesome, but it was like if Ben Affleck Air thing wasn't like 3 seconds from the end of the movie, but he was like that the whole time.
yeah. He was just
Um,
always on his Vespa.
yeah. Um, and I don't know. I thought Russell Crowe really worked for me. I thought there was really interesting like wide angle lens stuff where like when he's talking to the guys at like they were like, why did you do an exorcism? It was very much like oh shit.
Oh
Oh
no.
no!
No, no,
Quick,
he's fucking dying.
quick,
Owen's
yeah.
fucking
No.
dying, bro.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing the mic is muted. Oh, okay.
I was like
You're,
holding that in like the whole like I was just like talking and I could just feel it like coming up.
oh
Where
no.
was I? The wide angle
Mhm.
with where he's talking to those people is very like it's like Last Supper, like painterly like the way that they have them like
Oh sure.
positioned. And I actually kind of really liked that. And you have the wide like lens. There's just like stuff like that I thought was really I just really liked all the Exorcist stuff. I came out of the movie like what being like, oh, I just need to watch like every Exorcism movie I can find because I really like this kind of concept. I
Yeah,
think and I think it worked for me because I was like, I really like this exorcism stuff, and the Russell Crowe is just really cool.
yeah,
And then the third act is just bananas, and then the way that they treated it, like we're about to do be Indiana Jones and go on a million adventures, was just sick. And I know it just
yeah,
really worked for me on this. Like this is a fun, silly horror movie that I could watch like
hmm
10 of.
yeah.
Um,
I'm glad
I
it
think
got
you're gonna
some.
like Hereditary.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I hope you. I mean, I hope you at least like it more than Midsummer because.
Well, no, definitely, because it's like
Um.
obviously, like, well, Kevin, because like obviously,
Yeah.
the Hereditary said about an exorcism, like there's no priest, but it's
Yeah, but
like
it's
it is
like
the whole movie is very much about
the
demonic
vibes are there.
possession.
Yeah, the
Like,
vibes are
yeah,
there.
yeah,
You'll like it. I might even rewatch Hereditary to be honest,
I'm
but
definitely gonna
yeah.
rewatch it before
Is
both.
there anything else you guys wanna say about the Pope's Exorcist? Is there anything
I,
that you didn't like about the movie? Anything you want to mention before we wrap up?
what is everyone's favorite exorcism movie that you've seen?
Hmm. Probably The Exorcist, I would say, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's like
I
that's
I
like
would
can't.
the
have
answer, isn't it? That's like the
Yeah,
I
answer.
would have to go with The
I
Exorcist,
can't think
but
of
I
a.
haven't like seen many.
Yeah, is there a
Um,
list of exorcism movies?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
since
we
you both said The Exorcist, I'll say The Conjuring just to be different. But
we're trying to be different for real.
well, I
No,
guess
Yeah,
I
when I
because
look up when I try to find a list of Exorcist movies, I mean,
was just like
yeah, maybe I
The
just haven't watched a
Exorcist,
whole lot of
The
these.
Exorcist 2, The Exorcist 3.
have
uh,
you? Well,
Oh,
does
here's a
Evil
bigger
Dead
list.
count?
I guess.
I mean, it's like yeah, it's like possession.
But there's no, yeah,
It,
there's no exorcism, I
it's
guess, in Evil
yeah,
Dead.
that's what it's like.
This one has Jennifer's body on the list, which is not really like I mean, it's like a possession movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I guess if we're counting like all possession movies, it's probably Evil Dead 2. Um,
Yeah,
like it is.
yeah,
But I would just not classify that as an Exorcist movie.
yeah.
right.
Um,
Nah, I'd probably just go with The Exorcist. Yeah.
But if it's like, I don't know, if it's like Sunday afternoon, I'm just trying to have some fun. That Pope's Exorcist Blu-ray is going in. Like I don't know.
Hell yeah, brother.
I don't
Yes,
know what to tell you.
sir.
That's so silly. Yeah, maybe I'll add some more exorcism movies to the list. Honestly, the fact that I just watched How to Blow Up a Pipeline kind of like maybe inspired my next binge, I think. So I don't like because I want to watch Night Moves, the Kelly Reichardt movie, which I think is like similar to How to Blow Up a Pipeline, like same vibes with like environmental activists like doing something. And I kind of want to watch like all her movies in general. So I think that might be my next binge, but maybe I'll squeeze in an exorcism movie or two. I mean, I'm gonna watch Evil Dead too, so if you guys say that counts, then maybe that'll
Yeah, no,
pass
it feels
the
it's more
Exorcist thing.
possession than Exorcist, but I think it's like kind of in the same realm as like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We
Oh,
can.
speaking of The Exorcist, and this is going to lead into our next
Oh.
topic very, very smoothly because we're about to talk about current events. Did you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
see that they released a new clip from Ghosted that is filmed at the Exorcist stairs? And
Oh, is that what that
they
is?
did. Yeah,
people
yeah,
are
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
pissed off that they filmed
Well,
there.
because
Which is strange thing to be
you know
mad
why I'm
about.
mad is because they didn't film there on the same day. It's like so clearly like they're not talking to each other, and like there's like it's like so like it's like split screen, like they're not on the same day. It's so funny.
Yeah.
That movie, you're gonna have a rough time to fight in that movie. I'm gonna be honest.
Hey,
Yeah, no.
shut the fuck up.
I
But no,
really hope that that if it is a bad movie, we don't have to fight with Doug over it.
Yeah, I'm hoping you come
Hopefully
to
it's
terms
either
with it.
no,
I
hopefully it's
really-
hopefully it's either a movie that all three of us don't like or a movie that all three of us do
hey,
like.
did you guys see SNL last weekend?
I did not. I saw a weird SNL
No,
clip today, but
why?
no, what was last weekend?
Hosted by Ana de Ramis.
Oh, right. I did see that. Okay.
I didn't
I did
even see
know that. I
that.
did
I
know
didn't even
about
know that
that.
she hosted.
But
Um,
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good little segue into some of our news here. We're gonna just talk about a couple things, starting with first little piece of news. I figure this is a good place to start just because you weren't here to talk about this movie, Doug. As of yesterday, the Super Mario Bros. Movie has reached 678 million in the
Well,
global
speaking of
box
that,
office. Biggest movie of the year so far.
right before we started recording, I got
there's
a
a new update.
notification. 700 million now.
Okay. So an extra day pushed us over.
Movie is making money. Movie is making
for sure.
a lot of money.
I just figured this would be a good chance for Doug to let out everything he has to say about it since he didn't get to.
It's just annoying movie. I don't know. I wrote a great banger fucking review on Letterboxd that kind of that says how I feel.
Yeah, everybody go read Doug's Letterboxd review.
No.
It's the biggest movie of the year so far.
Yeah,
until
it'll probably. Well,
just the boys in Brooklyn, man.
Let me think about this. It's probably because it's gonna slow down soon because it's gonna be on VOD in like less than 2 weeks, so it's gonna slow down.
Yeah.
Because I saw somebody. Well, okay, I saw Tyler Whitmore tweet out that like people are underestimating the box office like crazy. It hasn't even opened in Japan yet. It's opening in Japan in 11 days. And I replied to his tweet and I was like, it's gonna be on VOD in 11 days. Like it's like this movie's not gonna continue to skyrocket. Like this movie's gonna
it's gonna
down.
make a billy though.
Yeah, but at this point it's reaching $1 billion. I think if it's at 700 million.
Yeah, no, I think I saw Tyler like say that it's gonna hit like 2 billion or 1.5.
Yeah, no, there's no way it hits.
No universe reaches $2 billion.
Not at all.
But I do think yeah, it's gonna make $1 billion. It's probably gonna be the biggest movie for a while. I don't know what else would.
Yeah, I mean,
Guardians
can make a lot of money.
Well, the Ant-Man movie only made like 450 million. So I don't know if that's any indicator of how Guardians will perform.
That's fair.
I mean,
I bet Guardians is gonna do good. It's gonna do good.
I think Guardians will do better.
Guardians has a chance of beating it. I don't think it probably won't, but it could. Like that's the big movie.
Guardians is more like, I mean, within like the Marvel fandoms, like Guardians has a lot of supporters. It seems like Marvel fans really. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like what they say in the fucking trailer, because like we're so like tired of all these fucking characters. But in the Guardians trailer, he even says like, "We've been gone for quite a while," or whatever at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, Guardians will
But
probably make a lot. I don't know if it's gonna make like that though, because like if Ant-Man
Yeah,
performed that, it depends if Guardians is a like good movie by like public opinion. You know what I mean? Because it's like I think people shitting on Ant-Man definitely did not help it
it'd be
get
cool if it
performed.
bombed. It'd be
it would
cool.
be cool if it bombed. I
Yeah,
don't think it will, but it would be
Bad
cool if it bombed.
rock.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
think it will though.
Trying
We'll
to
see.
think
I mean,
of
I was gonna say like maybe like the
James
Oppenheimer
Gunn has
Barbie
shooters
weekend.
apparently, so I don't think it will. James Gunn has big shooters.
James Gunn does have
Um,
shooters
Yeah.
because he's I don't know, he's like okay, I don't know, he's a pretty good actor. I don't know, like
He's the weirdest guy to
um,
have shoot. One of the weirdest guys to have shooters. For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only
No.
other movies that I could see like making like $1 billion would be like Mission Impossible, fucking
Yeah. Mission Impossible would be interesting
that's it,
because
maybe?
It
The-
won't, but it would be badass if Dune 2 did it, but it won't.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it won't, but it would be cool.
Bedrock.
Yeah,
I'd
no,
rock.
because our next little headline here kind of also has to do with box office stuff. Because there was rumors that Oppenheimer was going to get pushed back, and now it's been confirmed that that is not happening. Oppenheimer is still
exploded for like 30
still
minutes.
still being released the same weekend as Barbie, and like you have to imagine those two. I don't think either of those movies are going to make $1 billion, but like maybe.
No. I mean,
No.
Barbie, they're both
Like-
gonna make a
like
lot of
Barbie,
money. Oppenheimer's
maybe.
gonna make Oppenheimer's gonna make way more money than Barbie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Yeah.
they're both. I mean, they're both gonna make a lot of money. I think that. I think that it's smart for them not to push it back, but I also think people are fucking crazy for getting angry at them pushing it back. That idea.
There's-
The internet,
People are
the internet
silly.
like freaked out for a good.
There's
20 minutes
way
after
too
that.
much emphasis on this Barbie versus Oppenheimer movie.
Yeah,
like,
it's a weird thing.
battle
It's like just watch
thing.
both of the movies. Like I mean, I see
Yeah.
2 movies in
Well, it's
theaters
just because
every weekend.
it's been like a meme for like 2 years, basically. Like it's
Yeah.
like Barbie, fucking whatever.
Yeah, it's
But
just-
the
it's
streets
just
are
crazy.
saying that Christopher Nolan is trying to duck Barbie, so we'll see about that.
Well, that's so silly. No, Oppenheimer's gonna do really good. So Barbie's
don't
also
know.
gonna do really good. But
I just think it's like
I just hope
think
they're
it's-
different
both
demographics.
good
Though. It
movies.
doesn't make sense for them to push it back totally because it's like
Yeah.
they're different demographics totally, which is also
Yeah.
annoying because it's like that's what. But also like people online are trying to pretend like everybody's trying to pretend like everyone's excited for Barbie though. I think
Yeah,
where it's even like
I'm
film
not
bros are gonna
pretending.
be like
I am excited.
I know.
but
But even like there's so many film bros that are like, oh, Barbie's sweet or whatever.
yeah,
or,
and it's like they're
you know.
obviously they're just like being annoying.
They're
Uh,
jokesters. They're
There's not
literally
like
jokesters.
the overlap. The overlap is literally like people who are like big movie people. You know what I mean? Like if you're a big
Yeah.
movie person, then like you care about like both of these directors, then like yeah, that's the overlap that like you want to see both of them. But like
But if
for
you
I
spend
don't know.
all of your time on film Twitter, you would be under the impression that nobody is going to watch Oppenheimer opening night.
Yeah,
You know, you'd be
exactly.
in the
And then it's gonna
impression
make like
Yeah.
a ton of money. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't know. I just-
it's
$10 billion.
Nolan. It's gonna make money.
Yeah. I just think it's one of those things
Yeah.
that's like it's so weird that's just like I mean I get it because there are 2 big movies coming out the same weekend, but it's like like every you get excited about two good movies coming out on the same weekend, like always. I do, at least. Like even this coming
Like
weekend,
the
like
Pope's
I'm
Exorcist
I'm-
and
okay. No, like even this coming weekend, I'm excited for
And-
the new
and-
Evil Dead and Bo's Afraid, and it's like
Evil Dead
I hope
and
they're
Bo's
both
Afraid.
good. Yeah, I hope they're
Yeah,
both
why
good
were
movies,
people-
and then I'll have fun watching both of them. Like who
people
cares?
weren't talking about the Evil Dead Bo's Afraid off. Like what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Right off.
Yeah.
Well, because it's not funny.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the contrast between the 2 movies.
It's not funny.
But yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, I think as more time goes on, I'm less excited for Barbie, more excited for Oppenheimer.
Me
I think
too.
that's how it's
The exact
going.
same. I'm the exact same.
It's tough for me. I can't
I'm
even really
not-
tell which one I'm more excited for.
I'm not overly excited about either, to be honest.
I
I'm
think I
pretty
will
overly
like-
excited for both of them.
Well, here's my thing. I'm just thinking about it, and it's like I'll probably just like Oppenheimer more. Like, that's
Yeah,
just how
I'll
I'm thinking about
probably
it. I'm
like
just- I'll probably
Oppenheimer
just
is good.
Oppenheimer more.
It'll be like 3.5 Oppenheimer.
Well, because also
3
like I think
Barbie.
Christopher
I'd
Nolan
be like,
in his
okay.
in his like late style, like I think he's experiencing
Yeah,
late
shout
style
out
now.
Tenet, man.
Yeah, where it's like Tenet, I think was the first movie in like this new era of Chris Nolan. Where
Yeah,
he's, like, now
Oppenheimer might
doing
be a
it
banger,
late.
to be honest. That might be
Yeah.
it. That might be the movie.
I don't know. I'm very excited for both, but it's for
Because
like
here's the thing, Tenet didn't even make that much money, but it's like it's Christopher Nolan, and you just can't lose him, so
Yeah,
you just
but
can't tell
also
him no.
Tenet came out in like the middle of the pandemic.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tenet was like a pandemic movie for sure. I don't know. I'm excited for Oppenheimer because of Cillian Murphy, of course. So that's what's like where the hype's at for me. But I'm actually like really excited for both of these. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Next thing. This is like a small one, but I had to include it just because this one, like, I don't know why this bothers me so much, but it does. HBO Max rebranding and renaming the service to just Max, I think is the most. I hate it. like I just really don't like it. Because it seems like their like whole thing, like the way that they talked about it was just that they like don't want to be like connect, like they don't want like the HBO name being carried with it. Like they want to be like their own like streaming thing. And I'm like, why would you not want this like the the gold standard for like the past 20 years of television associated with your streaming service? Like it's like HBO has been widely like recognized as like peak television for the last 20 years, like the greatest shows in history, like The Sopranos, The Wire, and the greatest shows still coming out today are HBO shows. And it's like, why would you not want that connected to the stream? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then Max is just like a silly like rebrand, like it's just a person's name. Like it's just like just Max. Like I don't know. It really bothers me. I don't know if you guys have strong feelings about it, but I just like I saw that.
It's
And I was
just
like,
a bad
this is so
move. I think
silly.
like
It's
actually, I think an
dumb.
underrated thing that people aren't talking about enough is how they're changing the name and the color, so it's turning to blue instead of purple. They
Yeah, I don't like the blue either.
Which is also dumb because like I feel like everything is blue. Like you have
Everything
Disney
is
is blue,
blue.
Prime is blue,
Paramount is blue.
the purple stood out. Like it was honestly like the way that HBO Max kind of ran was pretty much perfect. Like you obviously could have like gotten better, but it was like there was no reason to mix everything up. I just kind of thought about this right now, but I know that David over there at Warner Brothers is not big on the service. Like I know, like he said before, like no, we want our movies. Like it's like I don't know. It just feels like they're trying to just like separate each other from things, and it feels weird. It feels like there's something behind. It's like
I don't know if it's the CEO of Warner Brothers, but it's one of those people, like whoever's in charge of the HBO Max specifically, or like Max now.
Yeah.
He's like on the record, he does not like prestige TV. He doesn't like prestige TV. He doesn't think prestige TV makes money. He is really into those Discovery Plus stuff. That Discovery Plus stuff, like my, 10,000-pound life and shit like that. He thinks that is like the future of TV. He thinks that stuff makes money. He's like he doesn't see the vision for shit like The Last of Us or fucking Succession.
Yeah, and it's like just like listen. Like that's so bothers me because it's like, just listen to people, dude. Like
this whole thing feels very tone deaf. And kind of like confused. Like it's like
I saw somebody break it down and say that like one of the things that they were talking about when they were rebranding was how like the difference between HBO Max and Discovery Plus is like on HBO Max, like 90% of users click like open the app and immediately clicked something from the homepage and didn't explore it all. Whereas 90% of users for Discovery would like search around and go to all the different tabs and stuff. So they want to change HBO Max to make it more like Discovery so that people like when they click in they have to like search around and like look for stuff. But it's like they took that as like not thinking like, oh, like they're showing them exactly what they want to see immediately and it's being really efficient. And more so it's like, oh, like people aren't interested in looking.
Yeah, just like makes it like a hassle.
It's like no, people are interested. They just know what's on HBO already.
Well,
like,
I think HBO does a good job of like HBO does a good job of like having their good stuff up front. Like it's like anti-Tubi in the way where you don't have to look for like the goods. Like it's just there.
And for most people that use HBO Max are probably just like watching a TV show. So like they click in and like, oh, here's the TV show you were watching. Like
I don't know. It's just like I wish like these stream because I've always defended HBO Max as my favorite streamer, and it's just like it comes down to like obviously you can make like all these changes or whatever, but like at the end of the day, like I don't really care what streaming services do to like make themselves stand out and be better. It's like the one thing that stands out to me is if the content's good or not. And it's like HBO has always had quality in my opinion. Like there's always been stuff to watch on HBO, and it's like Netflix consistently producing these like awful originals. I'm like, I lose more and more interest in Netflix as time passes.
I don't think I've used Netflix in like a year. I think
I just watched Beef on Netflix.
There's
Yeah, no,
different.
I watch shows, but I'm saying like they make so many original movies and
Yeah.
like 90% of these suck. And it's like
Yeah.
HBO knows what they're doing content wise. Like they keep
This is
putting
kind
out
of
good
a
show after good show. Like just
a
do that.
wider conversation to have a little bit, even because like with Netflix, they did that thing where they spent so much money for a couple of years, and like not throwing money, but they really gave a lot of these kind of interesting auteurs, like these pretty interesting auteurs,
Yeah.
like the fucking bag, and let them make whatever the fuck they wanted. And they were like, hey, like they were like, Netflix is the place for fucking movies. Like Netflix films is like a thing. And then it just like, and you know, they financed The Irishman, like Martin Scorsese's Dream Project. They financed Marriage Story, and then White Noise, fucking expensive
Yeah.
Noah Baumbach movies. They financed
Roma.
yeah, Roma, really expensive movie. Bardo, really expensive movie. Like all these like
Yeah.
kind of like all these like really auteurist films. And what they've realized after spending like, you know, the last 5-6 years doing that, and like spending a lot of money on these fucking movies from these like well-known, like established industry respected directors, they realized two things. Doesn't matter what they're gonna do, they're never gonna win an Oscar for some reason. They're never gonna win an
Yeah.
Oscar. It's just like, it doesn't matter what fucking movie they put out, they're not gonna win an Oscar. And it also, nobody cares. They're not making money. They're not making.
Yeah.
Like their return on investment is low, so they stopped. Like White Noise was like the last movie in this, and now it's like people think that they're just not going to make any more of these fucking auteurist films on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking expensive.
But it's like they don't listen, you know? Like Netflix, like that's what I'm saying. Like I mean, that's like a lot of streaming services, but it's like even like the password sharing thing. It's like, dude, like
The
just
password
like
sharing
Yeah,
thing is
they had to
crazy.
get
like-
bullied.
it's like,
they had to
oh,
get
dude,
bullied
like-
off the internet to change that back. Like,
I know that's what I'm saying, but it's like, but the bullying, like thankfully they actually, you know, fucking listen to the bullying, but it's like, dude, like people
Set up
like,
bullying.
no, yeah. No, but it's like people are going to not like the more they make these decisions, it's like people lose interest, dude. Like nobody wants nobody
I
wants
can
to
speak
like
for my
be...
parents. I think that the only streaming services that like my parents will like not going to cancel anytime soon, like will not cancel,
Mhm.
Peacock, because
Okay.
they have Law and Order SVU.
Shout
Paramount
out,
Plus.
shout out.
Those
And
are the
Paramount
two that I
Plus,
think are
okay.
locked down for them.
Those are like very like cable
Yellowstone on
TV
there.
oriented too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And those
and
are like
Paramount
like a
Plus,
lot of cable
because
shows.
they have Yellowstone, right? So
Yeah,
those
yeah,
two,
yeah.
like SVO and Yellowstone. So those are the only
Yeah.
two streaming
Shout
services
out.
that are fucking safe.
Yeah, shout out Kevin Costner. I'm named after him. So
Yeah,
That's
but you know what I
crazy.
mean? Because that's how like my parents are thinking. It's like, oh, where do we watch the stuff that we want to watch? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, these two streaming services. Like, we
Yeah.
don't really need anything else. Like, they have it, but it's like, you know, it's like those are like HBO Max, Netflix. Those are gonna be the first on the fucking chopping block for them. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
with HBO, which back to HBO Max, it's like a lot of people when they talk about like, oh, this is where we want to like, we want people to search and stuff like that. It's some people, people will hop on a streaming service and just like kind of search for things. But for me, it's really like I kind of know, like especially with like Letterboxd Patreon and stuff like that, and you're just kind of looking for movies. You're not really just like surfing the streaming service.
yeah.
It's just very easy for me to like. I'll never just go on the streaming service and look for stuff. It's more of like this is on there, go there, watch it. The rest of it does not really matter to me. So as long as
I do know a lot of people who surf.
yeah,
though.
no,
Like, a lot
I
of my
definitely
friends, a lot of my
know
friends will, like, go
a
through
lot of
streaming
people,
services,
especially
like,
people who are not as into like stuff and they're just like looking for something to watch. That's how it'll operate. So it makes sense. But for me, it's just like as long as the streaming service keeps good stuff on their platform, I'll be there. That's
Yeah.
why I just don't use Netflix because a lot of it is it's just so much bad shit. There's like 3 good movies on Netflix. So they can change the name. It can look stupid. There can be freaking ads everywhere. I don't care as long as there's
Yeah.
good movies and I can watch them. Especially
Yeah.
with HBO Max, there's no ads in the actual like the film, which perfect. That's just all I need. I need to
But
get there.
did they not also say that they're
Are they adding
planning
that?
on
Are they
including
adding
this?
that?
I think they're
with
I think
Okay,
they're
well,
adding separate. They're adding separate.
Shout out
ads.
HBO Max.
Yeah,
You suck.
like Hulu.
You're the worst.
yeah,
I think you
like,
mean I think you mean
they're gonna have
Max.
Oh fuck Max.
No, for Max, right?
Yeah, they're gonna have
changing
different
the
like
prices.
Hulu. It's like get
Yeah,
Max,
no, that's the
get Max
issue
or
with
get Max
Hulu.
without
That's the
ads.
issue with Hulu. It's like I don't want to watch these ads.
Yeah, but it's like I don't want to pay the extra $2 to get rid of
Exactly.
them. So I just keep watching them.
I think
Hulu
Tubi
ads suck because they're long. Like
Tubi, that's the thing. That's the thing
ads.
with Tubi. I watched the movie. We were talking about earlier. I watched Obsession on like Crackle or something. That sucks because Crackle and Tubi are like the same thing
Yeah.
basically, but Crackle has like 5-minute ads.
Yeah, it's like the
but
nice
Tubi-
the Tubi
Tubi
ones
has
are
like
so
a
quick.
30-second little ad break. Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
if
Like
you're
when
gonna
you
give
have the
me
little
ads,
ones,
just give me a quick like it's like 3 minutes spread out in the whole movie. Like it's 30
Yeah.
seconds, bang, bang, bang. Perfect. It's like I want to like blink my eyes and it's gone. If you're gonna give me that 5 minute bullshit, I'm not being there. I'm not gonna watch a movie with like a 5 minute break. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like a big
Definitely.
like moment, and then all of a sudden 5 minute like watching
Yeah.
like ad. Like it's horrible.
It's a bit extreme.
Yeah, Tubi's pretty
like,
good. I will say though, I don't think Tubi's sustainable. I don't think Tubi is making enough money to be able to afford
yeah,
a
with
lot
it
of these
being free and
movies.
just having ads.
We're
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Tubi era right now. This is like prime Tubi. It will not last, but
It's
they have like
will
the
not
Matrix
last.
and like crazy shit on there. Like it's like
Yeah.
the Tubi 2023, whatever this era it is prime time. Like if you haven't checked, I know I mentioned
There's like
someone made a video.
15 Donnie Yen
Be a
movies
nice
on
little
Tubi.
package.
Like, it's like-
Yeah, someone made a video on TikTok which is like top streaming service, and I mentioned Tubi, and like I haven't even checked out Tubi. I'm like right now, Tubi is like the place to be because their collection is just kind of insane because they just have like anything. Like there's the most random stuff will just be on Tubi. And we're talking about like there's critically acclaimed stuff, and there's also just like random B movies from like the 80s that no one's
Yeah,
seen.
there's a lot of
So
stuff.
like if you want to watch more like I'm just gonna say obscure things, just random stuff that could be good, or you want to go a little garbage dumping. That's actually like interesting. Like it's not like this shitty Netflix originals. It's just like fun like
Yeah.
movies. I think Tubi has a great large collection that while maybe not sustainable forever, right now it's really fun. I think
Yeah.
Tubi's
what's
a
a
great
movie?
place
What's
to
a
be.
movie you're gonna recommend that's on Tubi right now?
A movie that I can recommend on
Do it off the
Tubi?
top of his head.
Yeah.
I think American Werewolf in London's on Tubi. I think Summer Party Massacre's on Tubi. Yeah, Tubi's great. I think Tubi. What did I watch? The Chopping Malls on Tubi. There's a lot of like random, like silly movies on Tubi. Invaders from Mars is on Tubi.
The Grand Master by Wong Kar Wai is on Tubi right now.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of Toby Hooper movies on Tubi. It's great right now.
Yeah.
Tubi's the place to be.
let's go away from the actually not even really going away because the next thing I was going to say is related to Max as well. Our next little piece of news is that there are 2 shows confirmed to be in development for Max coming out in the future, one of which is a series based on the Conjuring universe that's going to continue the story from the films, and the other one is this like massive Harry Potter series that apparently is going to have like 1 season dedicated to each book and is going to span like 10 years worth of television.
Okay, we need to take bets right now on the Harry Potter show. Okay,
is it going to happen or not?
Is it going to happen? No, here's the thing. Okay, there's 2 bets to make. Right, I think the over under on the series straight up is like 0.5 seasons. Over under 0.5 seasons.
Yeah, like are they gonna? Or is the first season gonna come out?
Yeah, like
you know what? I do think it will come out.
I think they have. There's so many because the thing is they said it's not starting till like 2025, right? Or maybe even later. I think maybe 2026 even.
I know that they haven't casted anybody. I know like they're just like
it's very early.
You said 2026.
It's either 2025 or 2026 I believe, but I think
if it's 2020, I think the more it's back, I think the less it's likely to happen, because I do think if like Warner Brothers is kind of going towards this like throwing the last shit at the wall, we're gonna get bought out or something, like kind of vibes. It's very much like whatever we can do to save ourselves, we're gonna do right now.
Yeah.
So it feels like
I think it's just the roadblocks on the way to get there. Like there's like a
lot
of
I don't know. It feels like the more it's pushed back, the less likely it's gonna happen. And then it's like if it happens, it's gonna last like a season or 2. Just because of what it is.
10 years is so lofty.
It's a crazy,
especially when the movies exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's significant roadblocks because it's like, 1, would people rather just watch the movies? 2, are people going to just like completely be upset at the cast because they don't want to see a different cast in these movies?
Yeah.
And like 3, J.K. Rowling's attached to it. Like people
might not want is like an executive producer, and also she's gonna be a writer on the show. Like she's
exactly. It's like, are people gonna want to give?
Well, I think that's the issue. Well, there's a lot of issues. I think there's one issue is like this is like unnecessarily. I think another issue is J.K. Rowling is just attached to it. And another issue is like with they send out like this little like quick like video like teaser. And they're using everything. They're just
using everything.
I saw this hilarious TikTok where it was like basically like it was like a board meeting kind of silly skit, and it's like, yeah, we're just gonna recast actors, and we're going to just use the castle. We're gonna use the songs. We're gonna use the font. Everyone's gonna wear the same robes, and aesthetically, it's just gonna look the same. It's gonna be like we're in a deep. But we're actually, and then it was like the TikTok made it even further. It's like we're just gonna CGI deepfake like the old movies with these new actors' faces, and then like add scenes. Like it's just like they're just like it's like the thing with like rebooting something. Like I said this when the Lord of the Rings stuff came out is like if you're gonna remake like some stuff that's so iconic, you have to just do it completely differently. Like you just have to
Yeah.
be bold and be like brave and like just like completely redesign and reconstruct what it is. Because if you're just gonna retread it, it's just like no one's gonna like it's gonna be like people. Some people are gonna watch it. People are gonna watch the thing because it's just Harry Potter. But it's
Yeah,
like
of course.
it's just you're not gonna you're never gonna be your own thing because it's just you're redoing. It's so much in the
like
footsteps of the old
Chris
stuff.
Chris Columbus did so much fucking heavy lifting in those first two movies, creating like the
Yeah.
visual language for what Harry Potter is.
Yeah,
So it's
Yeah.
like because he did
It's
that,
just
and it's
copy.
because it was so successful, you can't change it. You just can't change that. So and but
Well,
since
Yeah.
you can't
yeah,
change
it's also
that,
like they
there's like no
have
reason.
theme park.
Like
There's like they have theme park rides dedicated to the castle and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's just no way they could change it. Like it's just like the thing is like if you were to remake these films, you would have to go in a complete other direction. But there's so much of this look embedded in the culture and like these theme park rides and everything that you
with
actually
billions
just
of dollar in
can't.
investment in
You
this
just can't.
aesthetic. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
You just
Yeah.
can't do the you can't go like another way in the aesthetic, so you just can't remake them. It just doesn't work in the way that like to
But
make
also,
something of quality.
it's such a layup too to do Harry Potter because they could have just made a sequel. Like
Yeah.
we
Well,
literally
so that's
could
the
have just
thing.
made a sequel.
So I think the perfect thing would be to make like a Marauders movie or a show like with like Harry's parents and stuff like at school and stuff. I think that would have been like a prequel, sort of like Star Wars thing.
I think they're
Could have
scared to do
been
a prequel because of how fucking bad
bad the
the
Fantastic Beast thing. So this is
yeah.
it's like I think they're scared of doing something interesting, which is like
Yeah.
we're going to do something
Yeah, because they
that
tried to do Fantastic Beast, which in concept was kind of interesting because it was like inspired by the book, which is
yeah.
like the text
No,
book,
in
right?
concept,
But
I
like
think in concept it's interesting with the whole Dumbledore stuff, and I think
it just
it's
fucking
almost
blew up in
like
their face.
what it feels very much like a worser version of like what Warner Brothers was doing, same company at DC, where it was
Mhm.
like the Fantastic Beasts movies aren't good, but it's like it feels like where they were with Zack Snyder, and it was like, all right, people aren't liking this, blow it up. Like it was like we have something in set here, blow it up before we can like actually, it's like they're 2 movies in, they have this plan, and it's like, oh, people aren't in love with this, scrap it, reboot, do something else. Like, it's like we're blowing up before we even get to a
Yeah,
place.
the same thing happened.
Um,
Did either of you see the most recent Fantastic Beast movie that came out
I actually still
a year
haven't
or
um,
two
seen
ago?
any of
so
them.
I didn't want to see it in theaters, but I like illegally, quote unquote, checked it out. I checked it out later when it came out, and it's not great.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them. I love the Harry Potter movies, and I
I
just like
think Mads
all
Mikkelsen is
Fantastic
pretty
Beasts.
solid in it. I just those movies lack. I think what's like with Harry Potter, I don't know. I feel like there's so much about Hogwarts that is special to the films, and it's like leaving Hogwarts and just being in like this weird. I don't know. I don't. It feels very detached of like the special kind of quality that like the earlier films had. And they're just I don't
Yeah,
know. They kind of they lack like interesting like originality to them. Like I don't know, I feel like every Harry Potter movie has very distinct like this is what happens in this movie, where it's like Fantastic Beasts 1 and 2, and I think there's 2 of them, right? Or 3 of them? Is there 3 of
there's
them?
three. There's three.
There's 3.
Yeah,
Jesus
There's
Christ.
3, yeah.
So there's like it's like there's 3 of them, and they all kind of like feel mushy in one. They're just like one big movie where Harry
Mhm.
Potter kind of distinctly has like um kind of different, vibes to
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Where this, it just like, I don't know, it feels very much cash grab. It feels very much like blob of like, yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
th- I
Um,
think another thing with this Harry Potter thing. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Kevin. But I think another thing with
no,
this
it's
Harry
okay.
Potter thing that is like kind of like we've already seen the writing on the walls for how like this is not going to work, because the Amazon Prime tried to do the same fucking thing, not the same
Yeah.
thing, but tried to do something similar with fucking Lord of the Rings, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
it's different because like Lord of the Rings is a prequel, so it's not just like
Yeah.
redoing Lord of the Rings. It is a prequel, it's a different story. But they said like there's like they have a 5-season fucking plan for Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Do
like,
people?
but
How many
the
people watch it? Because I
here's the
feel
thing.
like a
Here's the
lot of
thing.
people still watched it.
The first season of Rings of Power, it did very well. Like for the first episode of Rings of Power had like one of the highest fucking watches of like any premiere
Yeah.
of like a streaming TV show. But Rings of Power throughout the whole season had one of the lowest finish rates
Yeah.
Yeah.
of any
Yeah.
TV
It
show
just
that
wasn't. It wasn't successful as a show. They like it was basically I with the Rings of Power. I didn't. I watched like bits of it. It was like it was because it was the most expensive TV show ever made, right?
year. If you include the
Um.
rights, the acquisition rights for
Okay.
the
They
Rings
spent
of
the
Power
most money
source
making
material.
it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Yeah. I mean, it felt like we're gonna spend a lot of money. We're gonna big IP, and that's enough for it to kind of get by. Which it just didn't work that way.
They
Yeah.
spent so much money, and it looks you
The-
see
is-
all the money they spent. It looks expensive, like.
Yeah. It's just weird.
But it's the thing is like
Um,
it's boring. It's a boring show. I'm gonna say.
That's
I
yeah, I
watched
know. That's
it.
why I was like,
watched it. It's
I
boring.
like the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings is fun. It's just like I don't. That show just never interested me. It just never. There was no interest
Yeah.
in me there. And it's like I don't
wanted
even
to like
know.
it so much.
I don't think I know a single actor in that film, like that the TV show.
I
No.
don't
What's
see-
her? What's her name is in it?
I don't know
The
her.
girl that plays Galadriel, I don't know her name, but she's good in
Yeah,
it. She's like the best
she's-
actress in it.
Because she's in Morford
like the main
Clark. She's
character.
in Saint Maud.
Yeah, I can see that. I yeah, I know. It's just like it feels weird. I don't know. It also comes back to the thing where like with Dungeons and Dragons where it's like fantasy only exists on TV now.
Yeah.
Where like every fantasy thing, like the Game of Thrones thing, where it's like we only do fantasy on TV.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Well, Game
yeah.
of Thrones probably
Thrones-
set. Game of Thrones probably set a precedent. That
Well, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
it's
you can
like-
be really
it's kind of like-
successful doing this if you
Well,
actually do
yeah.
it well.
you know, it kind of makes sense that fantasy would exist on TV because fantasy books have this reputation for being
Yeah.
really fucking long.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like people who are fans of books want to see it like in detail, which is one of
Yeah.
like the only things that
Yeah.
maybe could work.
I
the
hate
Harry
those
Potter
book
shows.
nerds, man. They're
No,
ruining
I'm-
everything.
I think sometimes it's like I don't know. I can sympathize
I don't
with
watch
people
that
who
stuff.
I can sympathize with people who want to see like books that they care about turned into something that like is actually
Yeah.
true to the book, which is where
I
like the
don't-
limited series thing kind of comes in as like helpful sometimes. I think.
But those book
Um,
people will, as long as it's faithful, like it doesn't have to be a good movie. Like it's like
yeah,
those
yeah.
people are
That's
annoying.
true. Yeah, it's like
No.
it's like
It's-
those comic book nerds that like it's like one
Yeah.
of the annoying things about the Zack Snyder stuff from comic book nerds is people are
It's-
always like it's not comic book accurate, and it's like
What-
okay, dude. who
Yeah, but
gives
it's
a
like,
shit?
oh, do you have action? Like, is there any like? It's like it's annoying because it's like there's no critique. A lot of time, it's like no critique on the actual film itself or the quality of like the filmmaking. It's like, oh, that's not my Superman, or that's not like. It's like I don't know. It's just like it's silly. Like obviously,
Yeah.
sure, have whatever, but it's annoying when you get like something of quality or something bad and it's hyped up because it's accurate. That's the only like the
Like
only
Blue
goal.
Beetle, like
Yeah. The only goal of these things is to be accurate to the source material, not like actually good quality on their own. Which the more I've kind of watched stuff and kind of gone to things, is like I just really could care less about accuracy. I just want good. I think accuracy is kind of shouldn't be the goal always. I think it's interesting to kind of go away from things. Because I remember when with M. Night talking about his Harry Potter, and he was kind of talking about like he had a different vision than everyone else. And I think it would be fun for you have books like Harry Potter and you have stuff like Lord of the Rings. And I know that it's so iconic and embedded in like the culture, but to have different spins on literature is more interesting than just retreading and doing the same thing over and over again. I think you take the book as like this kind of, and I think it could work with a ton of books. And I think like kind of what the M. Night did with Knock at the Cabin is you have the book as this kind of template, and then you play with it and it becomes your own. I think kind of going.
Like,
I know it's gonna piss off a million people, but I just think doing your own thing and making your own movie out of this kind of, you use the book as like a Bible, and you kind of just go on from there.
it's like how what's that movie called with Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix? My Own Private Hideout. Idaho,
My
right?
Own Private Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is just a riff on Henry V. Like it's not like
Yeah.
exactly Henry V, but it's just like taking the plot structure of Henry V and kind of
Mhm.
like riffing on that. And like
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
should be more stuff like that in like modern literature, you know? Like
Yeah, I think that's like I think that's kind of some of the most interesting stuff could be like you take this book and then you kind of just you riff off of it completely. And I,
yeah.
I think it's kind of we talk again I'm talking about obsession with Brian De Palma. It's just riffing off of Vertigo. And I think it's way more interesting because I kind of talked in my I don't think I said it in my review, but I talked about this with some other people after I watched it. But with the Vertigo remake that's coming out, I think it would
Yeah.
be far more interesting for them to do something like Obsession, where it's like you take the basic premise and ideas that are in Vertigo and you just make a new movie. It's like you could just do that a billion times. The fact that there isn't just a billion Vertigo riffs is like way more interesting than just remaking it. Unless you're gonna do the
Yeah.
Van Sant Psycho thing, then just riff it. Just like I don't know. It's like
I,
you could either do like I don't know. It's
Speaking of Vertigo, I'm gonna transition this into another news topic that I don't think we wrote down, but it'll be quick. Did either of
Okay.
you did either of you see the trailer for the new Park Chan Wook movie starring
I did not.
Robert what's his name?
Robert.
Robert.
Robert
Famous
Iron Man.
Robert.
What's Iron Man's name?
Oh,
Robert
Robert Downey
Downey
Jr.
Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
I know I didn't see the trailer.
Okay,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
No,
neither of you fucking knew
didn't see it
what I was
either.
talking about at all.
No, I mean I think I saw a
Okay.
still of Robert Downey Jr., but I don't think I didn't know a trailer was out.
Yeah, Park Chan
Yeah.
Wook's new movie is gonna be Robert Downey Jr. playing like 5 different characters or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the trailer is like a table of Robert Downey Jr.'s talking to each other.
Oh
I think.
jeez.
Yeah, like.
Oh, maybe I did see something
That
about
sounds
this.
like
I don't think I
hell.
watched the trailer.
But
But I feel like I saw a tweet about it because I feel like I saw somebody tweeting something about Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I
and
think I
that
saw like
comes
a
to mind.
tweet or like a still of Robert Downey Jr., but I didn't
let me
know.
check.
I
I'm
didn't see a
pretty
lot
sure
about
this
it.
is Park Chan Wook, who one of our most important living filmmakers. I think this is his new movie.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
interesting.
Yeah.
Why Robert Downey Jr. seems to be getting back into things.
Well, because you
for
know he
better or
did.
for worse.
There was that documentary. It was one of the best documentaries
Sir.
of last year's
The-
Senior.
The Sympathizer is what
Oh
it's
yeah,
called?
Senior. With yeah, I mean he
About
got his
his
Marvel
dad.
bag and he kind of took a break. And now like I
Yeah,
think
he
he's
took
getting
a
him back
break.
into stuff, but
Oh, it's an HBO series, not a movie.
Oh, it's a Park
it's
Chan
so
Wook series.
Jover. It's
Yeah,
so Jover.
the Sympathizer, Park Chan Wook's HBO series.
Oh, it's a Max series. I didn't realize this. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a movie. I didn't realize it was a fucking show. Okay, that's interesting.
What
What is with these fucking amazing directors?
So that
and
could
fucking
that
actors?
goes along with the other two series that we were talking about. Then yeah, Max has a lot of stuff confirmed. Like
Shout out
that's really
Max.
exciting. The last thing I want to say about the Harry Potter stuff, or not thing that I want to say, but I guess just like question is like, if it does get made, are you guys gonna watch it?
No, fuck no. What the fuck?
Probably
Okay,
not.
so I'm
I don't
gonna be
know.
the only one watching it. Okay.
I mean, I might. I don't know. It depends on. There's a lot of things that it depends on. I think with it's just like
I don't think I think if I do watch it, it's gonna be like I'm gonna see the first episode, and then if I don't like it,
yeah.
I'll
No,
go
I mean,
back
I'm not
to
gonna
it.
like. If I don't care for it, I'm not gonna like just watch it to watch it.
Yeah,
I
because I
think
saw
it's.
like
I think casting will be interesting for sure.
mhm.
I don't know. Ed who
Well,
is helming it. It's
Part
just
of it too. There's no way it's gonna be that great. Either,
that's what I'm
because
saying.
one of
That's
the
what
things
it's
is
just
I
they're
don't think so.
They're using Chris Columbus's kind of established like visual language for how we understand Harry Potter. Like Chris Columbus taught us how to watch a Harry Potter movie with
Yeah.
the first 2 movies,
Yeah.
right? And now it's like we're gonna go back and see them as little kids doing silly little stuff, but it's
Yeah.
not gonna be in Chris Columbus's style. It's gonna be in some
Yeah.
like really sleek, clean, premiere prestige TV style. It's like it's just gonna be worse. Like I don't
Yeah.
even love the Chris
Yeah.
Columbus Harry Potter movies, but it's like those movies work because it's like they're kind of silly, like they're like silly serious, right? And he like balances that
Yeah.
well. I don't know, like
No, I mean, I think it's just like one of those things where it's like I'm just always gonna like no matter. I'd imagine no matter what happens in the TV show, there's no way I'm gonna like it more than the movie. So it is kind of just like pointless. But I don't know. I still
Yeah,
feel like
no.
I'm gonna end up checking.
I don't
it.
know. I think the it's like it's also it feels I don't know. I don't Warner Brothers is such a Warner Brothers has been a mess forever. It feels like I just with the DC stuff that's coming out, that's gonna be a mess. Just feels like we're in a really bad time for Warner Bros. Or
Yeah.
Max. Shout out.
Yeah.
Shut
I
up.
don't
Shout
know.
out
Well, I don't
Max.
know what's
Okay.
going on. I don't.
We'll finish with our last little piece of news here before we wrap up, which is that the oh okay. We're just gonna we're just don't worry. If you're listening on
Yeah.
audio,
Shut
don't
up.
worry.
Don't worry
Don't
about it,
worry about
pal.
that. Just a little hiccup. Anyway, last little piece of news here is that the James Bond casting director said that younger actors have lacked the gravitas. I feel like it's gravitas and mental capacity to play 007, which I think is interesting because when I read this, I thought they meant like younger, like when they said younger actors, they meant like people in their 30s, but apparently that's not what they were referring to, because when I clicked the article and read their like complete comment, they said that they wanted somebody in their 30s. So I think what they mean is that they just wouldn't
20s.
cast somebody in their 20s to play James Bond, which is
Which
like
makes sense.
yeah, I'm like that's not even I thought
That's not
this
really
was
James Bond at
yeah,
that point.
it seemed like a more
think they were
controversial
talking
headline than
about
I thought.
people in their 30s, though. I think they're still looking for people in their 30s, but I think that it's more like the casting directors are like annoyed.
No,
Well, like
but I don't know. When I was reading the full like their full like thing, they talked about how they want somebody to follow in the next James Bond. They want somebody to follow the same path that Daniel Craig did, and his first movie
Daniel
was when he was in
Craig,
his 30s.
he was
Um,
38 when he
no, I think he
became
was
James
younger than
Bond.
that. I
He
think
was
he was
old as
younger than
shit.
that.
He was old as shit in Casino Royale, dude.
No way.
He was old. Yeah.
I'm gonna trust Doug on this one.
He is 55 now. The first one came out what 18 years ago. Okay, so yeah, maybe you're right, 37. But still, that's like, are you really gonna watch a movie and tell the difference between a 33-year-old and a 37-year-old?
I
Like,
want them to
no.
make a silly James Bond. Give me silly Bond.
I think
I like the serious.
uh
I like serious Bond. I don't know.
Sirius
I
is
don't know.
overplayed and everything.
I think spy movies are good. I think that the family over there with James Bond, I think that they're lost and confused a little bit. I think that they
Yeah.
got
Little
them
dazed and
confused.
confused.
Because here's the thing, it's one of those things where it's like Daniel Craig was James Bond, and I think that now they don't know where to go because they had him for 20 years as James Bond, and he would just like, and it's like I don't know, and it was like messy, and I don't know. I think they just don't know what to do. I don't think they know what to do.
Yeah, but I just think it's kind of like less of a headline than I thought it was, because it's like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect somebody in their 20s to get cast as James Bond anyway, so I don't. Yeah, it's whatever.
Shout out Tom Holland.
Like I guess they brought it up because of people like that, like Tom Holland and like Timothée Chalamet, like which is like names floating around that nobody
Timothy Chalamet.
nobody is expecting these
So
people to play
stupid.
James Bond, so it is just kind of a nothing headline, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, we can wrap up there on the episode. You can let us know what you thought about The Pope's Exorcist. Be sure once again to follow us on Twitter and join us next week for episode 17. We're going to be talking about the two movies that we mentioned before, Beau is Afraid and Evil Dead Rise. So we'll see you next week.